welcome back to another episode here on the Carolina Panthers franchise. Now, we're going to be doing the off-season episode here. Going to be starting with staff week. Going to be going through this week by week, checking out staff, then re-signing players, doing free agency, finishing off with the draft, and then also having a separate preseason episode where we really finalize the team. It's just two shorter episodes to really not lose too much speed here with the reshuffling. Taking a quick look at the season recap, we can see that the Dallas Cowboys have won the Super Bowl. I think that's well deserved. They were really just the toughest team out there, in my opinion. There's no way around Pat Mahomes here being the NFL MVP. As always, he just always is that. Aaron Donald, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie Rashee Rice, and Defensive Rookie Brian Breesy. I think that's well deserved. So, well done everybody all around. We're going to be checking out the retirements next because that might impact us, of course. I'm just going to be clicking through this slowly so you can just take it in and take a look at who retired, maybe from your favorite team. Looking at the Panthers, I did check it out beforehand. There were just a few dudes that were leaving, and that few dudes is Justin McCray. He was injured all season, so he won't really be missed that much. Apart from that, let me just move through this here really slowly. Troy Hill retires, so that's another former Panthers player. Tyrod Taylor retires. Trent Williams, Calais Campbell, Cordell Patterson, Kelsey, Brandon Graham. So you can see that there's just a few really good players retiring. For the most part, there aren't too many crazy names in here that'll completely turn this franchise on top of its head. So there we go. These here down here are the free agents, and all the way down is the coaches that sometimes retire. And it's always Pete Carroll, like in real life. So there we go. All right, next up, there are no staff changes so far, so we're going to be heading to next week immediately to take a look at which players we want to re-sign, which players we don't want to re-sign. All right, so let's immediately dive into it, taking a look at the players that are available for negotiations and taking a look at some of these here and how we want to handle that. The first one, and this is one that it's an absolute no-brainer, we're going to accept the option for JC Horn. We will have to give him a big deal next season. So there's that. That's immediately handled. We do have some cap room now made available. I won't be re-signing DJ Chark, Chris Wormley, Shaquille Griffin. These are players that I just don't really feel like they're really going to help us on the long run. But here, Dreddeus, Hodges, Tomlinson, I do feel like this is a player I want to keep around. Let's look at what a favorable deal would look like. We're going to go with 2 and 1 on a 7-year deal. Interesting. So he doesn't want to stay. Now that is a turn of events, but there we go. We could franchise tag him. How much would that be? 16.1. Yeah, never, ever. Anthony Schwartz, again, I would like to see what he can bring to the team. We're gonna give him a 7-year deal because he's 23. That's just him on a super long-term deal. All right, Anthony Schwartz stays. Not even overpaying him that much. Who else? Raheem Blackshear, 25.70. We're gonna let him walk. Maybe bring him back out of free agency. Cameron McGrone. Right outside linebacker here, he's 24.68 rated. Nick Neiman, 26.68. I brought him in out of free agency, put him on the practice squad. I just don't feel like this is really the best thing to do here. Logan Bruce is definitely a player I want to have on the team. He is gonna be just a solid backup. It's nothing more, nothing less. I'm gonna give him 2 mil. Let's just stay here, and there we go. All right, so he stays as well. What else do we do? Alex Cook, no. Marquise Haynes, too old. Jack Heflin was on the practice squad, but 26.66, not really my thing. So Roderick Thompson, not really. Blake Whiteheart, I think he deserves a spot. He deserves a shot, and we're gonna give him. Let's give him a 3-year deal. We're just gonna hike this up a little bit. All right, so he stays with the team. I think he deserves that. He really. Played quite well for the short time that I was here. Il Manning, 25.65. He is interested. Dejuan Johnson, right edge. We've got Deshaun Williams, Henry Anderson on D-tackle. Don't see this one working out. Jimani Ricci, that's a hard pass. Let's take a look at Dejuan Johnson here, though. On the edge position, we don't really have that many young edges. So I will give this dude here, let's give him age 24 62. Nah, I'm gonna let him walk. Right? Because I think it's better to bring them in at a free agency. Same for Il Manning. We will be looking. I think he wasn't that bad, but at age 25, I really expect them to be already at around 70 to really be a good prospect for the future. So we're gonna let everybody here walk. I would like to keep some of that cap space available to work with in the off season now. So apart really from Travis Hodges Tomlinson, I'm a little bit bummed that we couldn't sign him because that would have been a cheap one. I'm gonna let everybody walk, and we will be moving on to the next week, which is gonna be the first week of free agency. Gonna be taking a quick look at the team as it looks like, where we have need, where we don't have need. Just to take stock of the team as it stands right now. We've got Bryce Young as our starter, we've got Andy Dalton as a backup. I don't really mind this setup too much, that works for me. On running back, we've got Chuba Hubbard, we've got Miles Sanders, and we've got Tyrion Davis-Price, who I think we dragged in at a free agency, but he actually even looks like a good prospect to have, so I'm not even too worried about this situation here. Fullback is we don't have a fullback, so let's think about something there. On the wide receivers, Adam Thielen, now with a mentor tag. Jonathan Mingo will be my wide receiver number 1. Laviska Shenault, also Terrace Marshall Jr. I like all that. Justin Ross was on the practice squad. Emil Smith-Marset, a little bit too old for my liking, 25-71. Anthony Schwartz is almost as good already. Colton Dowell is a dude that I dragged in at a free agency as well, and I really want to give him a shot as well. So I think it'll be time for Justin Ross and Emil Smith-Marset just to move on. For now, I will leave it as it is. On the tight ends, we've got Tommy Tremble, we've got Hayden Hurst, Ian Thomas, and Blake Whiteheart. I will be looking at Ian Thomas because I felt like he was going to be able to play fullback as well. He was always listed as my as a possibility in the fullback depth chart. If I can move him over, then we have that settled pretty easily. Yeah, so there we go. That's actually a good fix right there. On the offensive line, let's just take this one in here. We've got Ike McWonu, Logan Bruss. I like this setup. On left guard, Brady Christensen and Chandler Zavala. I also like this setup. That is also pretty good for the time being, all right? It's not the final form. Bradley Bozeman, behind him Kate Mays. That is decent enough. On right guard, Austin Corbett. Nash Jensen, who actually played pretty well in his first season. On right tackle, we've got Taylor Moton, who is still overpaid in my opinion, and Ricky Lee, who's a little bit with a question mark because 25-62. I feel like we could get better players there. So I will be releasing this player. Do I get a penalty? Nope. Alright, so we're just going to let him go. On left edge, we don't have anybody. So we're going to have to fix this position. On right edge, we've got Derek Brown and LeBrian Ray, who I'm not too big a fan of, to be honest as well. LeBrian Ray, we slapped him into the practice squad, but I just don't think that he's going to be much of a help for the future. On D-tackle, Shai Tuttle and Tristan Hill. Both are decent enough for right now, but again, we still have to keep this in mind. Left outside linebacker, DJ Johnson, that is serviceable in my opinion, 25-73, that's okay. On the mid linebacker, we've got Shaq Thompson back from injury, finally, 30-85. That is good enough to be a starter. We've got Frankie Luvu and Dean Jones. That's good. Claudine Torellis and Chandler Wooten. Chandler Wooten, 25-56. I don't care what the stats look like individually, but we have to cut him. There's just no way to keep him around. And Claudine Torellis, I know he was a rookie last season, and I don't want to be harsh, but this is just really a strange one for me. The speed is good, pursuit is good, acceleration is really good. At age 25, I mean, we'll just leave him. I don't really want to, just break things up too much without the need to do so. I don't see him breaking in there, though. But again, in 2 to 3 years, he might be serviceable. So let's just see how he develops. Right outside linebackers, we have Yuta Gross-Matos. That's good. We've got Amari Barno. We've got Iku Leota and Luigi Bilane. We're going to cut Luigi Bilane for sure. There is no way he's ever going to be good enough to start. Not at age 26 at a 60 rating. Yuta Gross-Matos is my starter here. I actually don't feel too bad about Amari Barno behind him, but I do have question marks regarding Iku Leota. Do we move him over and just use him as a backup for the time being? I think that's what we're going to do. I don't need 2 backups here, and Amari Barno is higher rated anyways, so let's just put Iku Leota over on the left outside linebacker position. See how that works out then. I just think we need to have 2 players here. One is a starter, one is a backup, and Leota doesn't look too horrible when you look at his base stats. He's got good stats in there. The tackle, hit, power, speed, acceleration, it's all okay-ish, but he just really needs to make one more step here to be really relevant for the team. On corner, we've got JC Horn with his superstar depth trade. He just got that in the offseason, so that's not even a question mark for me. I didn't get it in the offseason, he got it towards the end of the last season. I think he won an award or something like that. We've got Dante Jackson, so these two are going to be CB1, CB2. I've got CJ Henderson, 2578. I love that. Kelvin Joseph, 2472, and Deshaun Jameson. I think I will be letting Kelvin Joseph go because I used him on the Titans, and I actually don't like using the same players just twice. Jameson looks serviceable for the time being. On free safety, we've got Xavier Woods, 2985. And on strong safety, we've got Von Bell and Jamie Robinson. Kicker is Eddie Pinheiro, but we do have Cade York here as well, who can learn from him. All right, I don't really want to shuffle things too much, but Eddie Pinheiro, let's just check his contract out real quick. He was decent enough, right? But he's just owed some money next year. Cade York can grow behind him, and then we'll actually have a pretty good young kicker here that we can further develop over time. Punter is Johnny Hecker, 3580, and that's it basically. We've got a few draft picks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, between the rounds 2 and 4. So I actually really like this setup here. We're going to be picking those mid-table dudes, and that is going to work quite well. Apart from that, I think we don't have anybody else to move on. We could look at just packaging maybe Ross and Emil Smith-Marset, just looking to get something for them. But yeah, to be honest, I don't want to do that just now. We might do that at a later date, might do that parallel to the draft. Now, we just kind of cleared out some space here, and now I want to take a look at the free agents with you. Let's do a quick deep dive into the free agents that are currently available. On quarterback, it's a position that we don't need, so I won't be looking at this until we hit the free agency at the beginning of preseason. Halfback, that's a category that we also don't need anybody. We might just take a look here and be cheeky. Maybe we snap somebody up that'll really elevate our team here. There's just so many running backs in here that have 0 offers if you look on the right side. And yeah, it's just options and options and options, and I do think that we can really find some dudes that can help us. Fullback position that we actually don't need, even if there are some interesting dudes in here. Wide receivers, that would be a position where I could see myself going for somebody. On the other hand, I feel like we would be better off just drafting somebody. Looking at the tight ends, don't really think that we can do that. We've got Hayden Hurst. We could try and just trade him on. But I think the setup is good as it is. Left tackle position, I would like to see a good frontline player joining. All right, so somebody like AJ Jackson, 2675. We could move him around the offensive line. It's certainly not the part of the team that I feel like it really needs the most work, but if we can get somebody in that'll help us on that position, then that will certainly be a big help. Of course, I am, and I said that before, I'm looking for young players to develop, and AJ Jackson, for instance, would be a young player with a high upside. On guard, it's the same thing. I'm not going to be going for any of these dudes here. Again, Netane Muti is always in here. He would be, of course, fantastic, but I used him on the Titans, so that's a no-no for me. Question is there anybody else that we could bring in? Ilm Manning is available. He would like to join, so that could be a possibility. But we can always do that later on. At center, don't think that we need help. We currently really have a pretty good setup right there, even if there's players available. On right guard, Cesar Reese is actually an interesting looking prospect here. I've got Trey Turner and so on. So you can see I'm just moving through here, taking a look at who's available. We can always bring in some of these Band-Aid players without any problems. I don't really see that as an issue. Luckily, we managed to really push far into the playoffs, so the interest in our team isn't completely off. Kind of showed what we can do on right tackle. There are also some dudes available. But yeah, again, don't think that I'll be going for anybody of these right now. On defense, things look really different. I think we need a solid defensive player. I want to draft one, and then I'm going to be looking at free agents. I would only sign somebody here if it were like an absolute stud player that could really change the way our team works, looks, or feels. So there's that, but definitely nobody here that fits that category. On D tackle, Michael Pierce, for instance, would be a good help for our D tackles. Who do we have? Shai Tuttle and Tristan Hill. This could actually be a good one-year deal, but again, he is pretty expensive when you look at it. So I feel like I would have to really lowball him, and I'm not sure if that would work. There's other options here as well that have zero offers, someone like Sebastian Joseph Day, and I'm sure he'll be a little bit cheaper since he's just further down Sheldon rankings. So dudes like these that could just help us solidify what we have without really going overboard. I will have a think about this here. On the right edge, again, we have Derek Brown there. That's fantastic, but we need to think about the future. Derek Brown's deal will end, so we just kind of have to think of what we can do at that position once he leaves the team. Left outside linebackers, I feel like we are currently in a pretty good position. I like DJ Johnson, and unless there's just somebody else available in preseason, I will not be changing this. DJ Johnson here, he's 25-71 rated. He actually did pretty well, so I would rather use him and see what he can do. Dudes like these, of course, would be fantastic, but we can't bring him in because it'll be just impossible to. I would have to give them so much money for what they for their services. But there's other options as well, like Akeem Davis-Gaither or so on. So let's just keep an open mind here. Let's just keep monitoring whatever happens here. Mid linebackers, same thing, right? We've got a good setup there. I like that. Dudes like Jordan Brooks, I mean, of course they would be fantastic, but look at what they want. It's 33.6 mil, and that is certainly a lot of money that I'm not really sure I want to pay that. Yeah, others, Josie Jewell certainly looking interesting. He could help us immediately. Bobby Wagner's still here. I'm going to see who's here in the second round. Nate Landman, I was talking about him before. Maybe I'll try and get him in. He would certainly be interesting. Chris Barnes. So there are options, all right? Looking at the right outside linebackers, this is one where I don't need anybody because we, of course, have Yetur Gross-Matos. So there's no need to sign anybody here. We do have good players available. I've also got a player like Amari Barno here. Yes, again, if we get a cheap solution, gonna go for it, but otherwise I'm not really gonna dive too much into this one because I would like to really draft the dudes than just drag them up out of free agency. Strong safety, maybe. This is a maybe, but only if we get a really good deal on somebody. And then we've got the kickers and the punters, and that's a no-go anyways. All right, so that's it and done. I will now be moving ahead to the free agency recap and yeah, show you who I signed. A quick free agents recap is up next. Let's just take a look at our signings first. I did go for the ones that I did talk about beforehand. Basically, AJ Jackson, added him to the team already. Switch him over to right tackle. He's now sitting behind Taylor Moton. I think that is that's the best position at the moment. Maybe I can find a better one for him. But for now, it's just a really good backup player to have to move him around the lines where I need him. Big dude, strong dude, offensive line, not an issue. I added Javon Kinlaw. He was available. 3-year deal. He's not too keen to play for us, but still he joined because he doesn't have any other offers. He's a solid player, a good D-tackle addition, and now we have 3 D-tackles instead of 2, so that's just some more depth. Travius Hodges-Tomlinson rejoins the team on a super long-term deal, 7 years, 2 mil salary, 1 mil bonus. I think this is a really good one, to be honest. He's not the strongest, but he's very good in speed, agility, and acceleration, so that will help the cornerback room. Plus, he's very young. Same goes for AJ Finley. He's 22 and 68. He's not the most craziest of athletes, but I did give him 200 and 900k and 900k, so 1.8 salary total. That 2-year deal. We're just going to see how he develops, how well he fits the team, and there's that. That's basically all the signings. I did try to get 1 or 2 more depth signings, but for now I feel like we don't need any big splashes anymore. I will be going through this here just ever so quickly. Let's just sort by position, by overall. There we go. I'm going to be clicking through this. You can take a look who went where, which players got signed. I did see that the Falcons already signed a few big names, so this is going to be quite a different team that we will be facing, and there's certainly no reason to underestimate them anymore. Apart from that, you can see a few names that I would like to have signed or that I would like to see in our team. But again, I'm not a fan of overpaying. We have 23 mil cap space, and that's just something that we need to work with as best as we can. So there we go. It's just a few names just moving through while I'm talking. You can always pause, go back, take a look at where your favorite players went. I will now be getting out of this and moving on to the draft, where we will be getting our next prospect players. I'll just be going through the top 10 picks together with you, just to see if any of the players that I was looking at were picked by other teams. One of those was Layatu Latu. I did look at him, right edge player. I would have liked to get him on my team, but there we go. You can't have everything, I guess. Next up, we're going to take a look at the next pick, the Arizona Cardinals pick Caleb Williams. One of the best QBs in this draft for sure. Let's see. The Bengals take Jared Verse, left outside linebacker, Florida State. Here we go. Olu Fashanu, left tackle, Penn State, going to the Washington Commanders. Chop Robinson, right outside linebacker, Penn State, joining the Saints. The Raiders pick J.C. Latham, right tackle, out of Alabama. The Chargers pick Jersan Newton, D-tackle, out of Illinois. I was looking at him as well. Brock Bowers, tight end, out of Georgia, joining the Vikings. We are picking third pick in the 2nd round, so no first rounders for us. Troy Fautanu, left guard, joining the Tennessee Titans. And finally, Kool-Aid McKinstry, joining the New York Jets. All right, enough of the drafting here. Now I will be moving on to my picks. Pick number 1, that's Brandon Dorius, a hidden dev trade player. Left edge, that's certainly a position where we needed help. Didn't want to get anybody out of free agency. So actually very happy with this one here. Let's take a look at what the overall will be like, and let's move on to our next pick. 2nd pick, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., mid linebacker, out of Clemson, 21 years old, 6'0", 230 pounds, run stopper, hidden dev trait, mid linebacker, of course, joining us. What an addition. Super happy at this one. Didn't see that one coming, right? I went for Caleb Bullock. He's a free safety, hidden dev trait, 21 years old, 190 pounds, 6'3", run support out of USC. Another addition to our secondary. Just felt like buffing that one a little bit could help us. Yeah, again, another hidden dev trait. 3rd in a row now. What a roll, man. Time for the draft recap. I'm actually pretty happy with this because we did plug a few holes that we had. We also fixed a few positions that might be needy in the future. So let's just go through this real quick. We've got Brandon Dorius, who was my first pick, hidden dev trait, 72 rated rookie on the left edge position. That's a position that we had dire need of. Super happy to have brought this dude in. I also picked Jeremiah Trotter on the mid linebacker position. You might say, well, dude, you've got enough players there, right? Yes, we do, but this is a 21-year-old player He's got super good stats already. 73 rated, 21 years old. He will be growing very quickly, and I really like the prospect of this one. Caleb Bullock, another one we needed. We're going to be needing help on the safety positions because both of our starting safeties there are 29 and 29. Having a good young rookie here for the future is really important for the success of the team. Right outside linebacker, Tommy Eichenberg. He was initially a left outside linebacker, moved him over to right outside linebacker to just sit behind Yitu Cross-Matas there. That just made it a little bit more sense to me. Danny Stutzman, a dude that we know pretty well from the Titans franchise because he was on the Raiders there. Mid linebacker, another one, 21-year-old rookie, 71 overall. I'm really pretty happy with this one here. Plus, he's very flexible, so let's see how we use him. We've got Landon Jackson and Chico Bennett Jr. Two edges, Landon Jackson, Chico Bennett, both just really to bolster our depth there. They're super young. You can see the ages 21, 22, 21. Tommy Eichenberg's 23, 21, 21, and 23. So very young rookies that we brought in. I will just be showing you super quick the entire first round here to just move through this one, so you can also see the overalls of the players stand out. Caleb Williams, 80 overall, for instance. Moving through this, pause the video if you want to take a closer look at these dudes here. Some of these I would have liked to pick. Some of these I already know that are going to be super good, like Romo Dunze, for instance. If I could have brought him in, that would have been fun, but didn't get a first round pick. And a lot of the big names were gone already by the time I got to pick. Luckily, a lot of the dudes that I marked down were still available, so that was pretty cool actually. I could have had dudes like, I don't know, Michael Penix Jr., Michael Hall Jr. Didn't need that, we needed defense, so that's what I did go for. JT Tumalo, another one that I was really on the fence about, but I did go for Brandon Dorius. He just seems to have a little bit of a bigger upside here. JJ McCarthy was available, Cameron Kinchins, Killikin, Trevin Henderson, a lot of big names still on the board here. This draft is really, really deep. A lot of talent all over the place here. Tyleik Williams was one that I was looking at. I didn't go for him though, very much towards the end here, but he would have been available. I went for Jeremiah Trotter instead. I felt like having the mid linebacker depth could be a little bit more important because I just fixed the D tackle with the Javon Kinlaw, basically. All right, so that's the second round done. I will now be kind of bringing all that into shape, and that's going to be the end of this episode. Rink it in the way the team looks at the moment. We have more or less the same players strewn across the team. We did bring in a few additional dudes here and there, but the offense is for the most part unchanged. I kind of just wanted to keep that as is. We did bring in Jackson here for the right tackle as a backup player. And apart from that, the offense was already pretty well oiled. Alright, on defense, there's a few parts here and there that I still want to tweak a little bit. For instance, the D-tackle position is one that does look good for the most part, but seeing how Landon Jackson could also play D-tackle, I'm actually maybe thinking of even pairing him up with Javon Kinlaw for the starter spot, having Tristan Hill and Shai Tuttle as the backups. Maybe also working something out with the mid linebackers here. Maybe we can kind of move that around to just make the most of all of the dudes that we do have on the team currently, without losing the quality and the flexibility that we just want to have here. Of course, the practice squad is still dead empty, and this is just the view of the team at the end of the off-season of free agency and the draft. Pretty happy actually. I think we fixed a few key positions. We still have some cap space left, with 5 players over the quota of the final season roster. And with that, I'm now going to be cutting the episode. I really just love doing this and diving into all the stuff and snapping up players here and there. Changing the face without changing the face too much, right? I don't want to just create a complete monster of a team that looks nothing like the team we started out with. It should be a gradual process, because otherwise it just doesn't really work. That's not how it works in real life. But for now, I'm going to be ending this episode, try to keep it short. Our next episode is going to be the preseason episode. We will fill the roster up there a little bit more and then shape the roster, shape the team so that it is finalized and ready to kick off the 2024 season.